Hi everyone, Flaming Footy here and welcome back to another YouTube video on the channel. And today guys, we're going to be continuing our 3-game match reviews. Now in today's video, we're going to be reviewing the first 3 games of round 12. Now there will only be 2 3-game match reviews this round, as this round is the start of the bye round. So of course there's just going to be 2 because the footy gods have been nice and put 6 games on, which gives me 2 match reviews perfectly. So it is perfect, and that is going so well. So today it is Western Bulldogs versus Geelong, Adelaide versus West Coast, and Gold Coast versus North Melbourne are the games that we're going to be reviewing. We'll be starting off with Western Bulldogs versus Geelong at Marvel Stadium on the Friday night. So on the Friday night, we start things off with the Western Bulldogs and the Geelong Cats. Western Bulldogs 10-10-70 get defeated by Geelong 12-11-83. And this game was a very different one. It was played in 2 quarters per team. Now, this game was, well, really different to what games that we've kind of seen. And the Cats held on despite being quite poor in quarters 2 and 3, but we'll go over the first term first. And the Cats were switched on. 11-44 was the quarter time score, and the Dogs looked out of it there. And this one had the capability of going well beyond 40 points, and it didn't. The Dogs managed to wrestle the game back into their momentum, but 1 goal 5 at quarter time is just not going to win you a game of footy, and it didn't, and they took the price of not having a good first quarter, and that's the price they'll pay, is a loss. Otherwise, if they had have stayed in, they would have won this game, I reckon. Second term was dominated by the Western Bulldogs, and so it was the third. They kept the Cats goalless in the third term to come back and be a chance. There was a few kicks away out the 3-quarter time break, being 45-56, down by 11. Actually, can you believe it or not? And they really came hard in the final term as well. Got the margin down to single digits a few times, and then the Cats just kicked 2 goals late, and it got them away to a 13-point win. The Cats, they weren't as good as what we expected after the start to this game, but Jeremy Cameron was good with the 6 goals. Bailey Dale 31 disposals, 124 fantasy for McRae, and 8 tackles for Jack McRae. But yeah, this was a really important game. The winner was really going to take those 4 points really comfortably, and the Western Bulldogs sit in the 8, but their spot still up for grabs. Now the Cats, they sit in the top 4 again. Their spot is also still up for grabs though. Jack McRae, 124 AFL fantasy, 115 for Libba and Duncan, 112 for Jezza, 100 for Zach Guthrie, 98 for Caleb Daniel and the other Guthrie brother, collecting 98, which is Cam, 95 for English, 94 for Dale and Hawkins, and the Irishman, Zach Tui, 92 and 89 for Marcus Bontempelli. So, goals and behinds, Jeremy Cameron was on fire with the 6 goals. He was the difference. 2 goals for Waitman, Hawkins and Liberatore as well. And then, those were the only multiple goal scorers. Disposals, 31 for McRae and Dale, 30 for Daniel and Liberatore. So the top 4 ball getters on the ground were Western Bulldogs, 29 for Duncan, 27 for Slaw, 25 for Selwood, 24 for Cam Guthrie, 23 for Marcus Bontempelli. Tim English got in there with the 20 disposals as well. 11 marks for Zach Guthrie, 9 for Josh Dunkley, 9 for Isaac Smith, Tom Hawkins and Jed Buse. Now to the tackles, 8 for McRae, 7 for Parfitt, 6 for Selwood, and to the hit-outs, 23 for Stanley, 17 for English, 13 for Blitzarves, 4 for Norton, 2 for Karmas, 2 for Hawkins. So we'll go to some team stats now. The Dogs, funnily enough, went inside 50 more times than the Cats, and the Dogs, they did, luckily enough, get accurate later in the game for them. But, yeah, inaccuracy did have them done early in the game. Nothing else looking that great. The Dogs won a lot more out of the centre as well, 15-8. What else have we got? The Cats taking way more marks inside 50, as a result getting more set shots. The Dogs led for 57 seconds, and the Cats led for the rest. The biggest margin was 40 for Geelong. And the Western Bulldogs, their biggest margin was just the 1 point that came at the start of the game. And then nothing else looking that great. But the Dogs only made 62 interchanges as well. That's a bit of a low number compared to what we're used to seeing. But this one was going to shape as a heavyweight battle, and the Cats just the better of the sides on Friday night. Now, to the Adelaide Oval we go, where Adelaide 13-10-88 defeat the West Coast Eagles 8-9-57. But Adelaide by 31, but did they miss out on a percentage boost? In my opinion, definitely. This game was, should have been won by more in an Adelaide sort of thing. Should have Adelaide won by more? Were they missing their chances? Or were West Coast actually playing all right? Well, West Coast had a little bit of a moment, and we'll go over that shortly. But I'll go over that shortly. But the Eagles, 0 goals once to begin quarter time. That is not how you win a game of AFL footy, and could have potentially cost them in the end. They actually could have been a chance in this game had they not have had a bad first quarter. 5-2-32, the Adelaide Crows got off 32-1. Second quarter's also Adelaide, and they were looking like they could have won this game by 40 or by 80. And the third quarter was also suggesting that as well. Except West Coast did really get it back onto their terms late. And in the final term, they brought the margin back to about 20, and they looked like they were a chance. And then the Crows just got a few goals late to seal the deal, but 31 points. They did miss out on a percentage booster, unfortunately for them. Rory Laird, 33 disposals, 3 goals for Tex, 122 fantasy for Laird, 10 tackles for Greg Clark. Now, it was wet, however, so that does almost set you up for a whole different story. 122 fantasy for Laird, 116 for Redden, 112 for Shuey, 107 for Gaff, 105 for Walker, 102 for Smith, and 93 for Dawson. Goals behind, 3 for Walker, McAdam, and Fogarty. 2 goals for Saligo and Darling as well. And Parnell was the debutant for the Adelaide Crows in this game. And he looked pretty decent. 33 disposals for Rory Laird, 30 for Gaff, 29 for Keys, 27 for Crouch, and Shuey, 25 for Haitley and Redden, and of course, nice ball getter, 24 for Kelly, 23 for Dawson. He does find plenty of the footy as well. And Walker getting busy with the 22. 10 marks for Tom Barras, 9 for Dawson, and Waterman, 8 for Taylor Walker. Tackles, 10 for Clark, 9 for Laird, 8 for Berry, 7 for Redden. And the other hit-outs, 40 for O'Brien, having a nice day out for him. 21 for Williams, 9 for Jamieson, 7 for Thilthorpe, and just the 1 for Taylor Walker. Now the team stats we go, where the Crows went inside 50 plenty more times than West Coast. And they did win the clearances, although West Coast did win the stoppage clearances, however. And the Crows took more marks inside 50, which, I mean, it was pretty simple to tell. The Crows' biggest lead was 46 points, and they led for the entirety of the contest with some ease. West Coast never really looked like coming back into the game until later in it, but the Crows were just too strong after they'd set the framework in the first half for a successful finish. It was wet, but the Crows triumphed by 31 points in Adelaide over a not-so-great West Coast team. And the Crows' accuracy this week was also a bit better compared to what it's been in the past few weeks, but the Crows by 31 in wet weather footy. So I will give you a live score update of Melbourne versus Sydney when this video ends as well, like what I would normally do in the match reviews. But we'll be heading to Gold Coast versus North Melbourne. So over to Gold Coast versus North Melbourne we go. I was very quick on this one. I've still got the listen live button there. I do get onto these very quickly ASAP to try and get it out as early as possible. It may be out the next morning, which probably is the case. But yeah. That's alright. But this game was very interesting, actually. And it was the real second quarter, which did change things. But Gold Coast versus North. Gold Coast win by 62, 15-19, 109 5, 47. Gold Coast missing out on chances. And they won by 62, but was there more of a percentage booster here? Most certainly. Now, this game was not great for North Melbourne, who did actually have a good first quarter, however. They led 10-27 at the first break, looking like, is there an upset here? And the second quarter, they were scoreless, didn't even score behind, as Gold Coast worked their way to a 7-goal, 7 term to, finish the Roos pretty much. They were up by 30 at that stage. Third quarter, not really a lot of action going on. And then final term, they just catapulted their way to a big win, keeping the Roos goalless. So for the Roos, this was a disappointing game. 32 disposals for Touk Miller. 2 goals for Isaac Rankin, 135 fantasy for Touk Miller, and 11 tackles for Matt Rao. To the player stats we go. 135 fantasy for Touk Miller, 107 for Rao, 103 for Davies Uniac, 101 for Power, 96 for Anderson, 88 for Simpkin, and 86 for Greenwood, up against his former team, not getting the result that he wanted at 84 for Butterick. Goals behind, 2 goals, 3 for Rankin, 2 goals for Day, and then it was a 1 goal for the lots of players that got 1 goal. 32 disposals for Took Miller, 25 for Rao and Butterick, as well as Luke Davies-Uniacke. Mark, 6 for Markov and Ainsworth and Davies-Uniacke. Tackles, 11 for Rao, 8 for Power, Miller and Greenwood, 7 for Roses and Holman. Now to the hit-outs we go. 35 for Witts, 27 for Goldie, 24 for Tristan Zeri, 3 for Day, 2 for Davies and 2 for Troll. Now to the team stats we go, where, wow, Gold Coast went inside 50 a whopping 81 times to North's Port 36. That does show you where the game was won and lost. You could go to, and you could tell a random stranger this stat, and they'd be able to pick who won the game as well. If they knew inside 50s was a good thing. Now, nothing else looking that great. North actually did lead for a fair chunk of this game, but of course Gold Coast led for more. North's biggest lead being 17, and Gold Coast's biggest being the final margin. Tackles inside 50, look at that, 22-1. Bounces 7-1. The Suns did definitely take on the game more, and both went to the full interchange cap. But yeah, Gold Coast were just way too good after a game that looked like it was in North's favour early. Changed extremely quickly, and it was just our second quarter that really put the Suns in a good position. The Suns were inaccurate, could have won this game by more, but still got a nice result, winning by 62, as footy stays in the NT for round number 12. Alright, so now the Demons got off to a fast start versus Sydney. They lead 2-0-12, and they're just a few minutes into this game at the MCG. Unbelievable scenes already. They've gone quick, and I feel like Ed Langdon and James Jordan getting 2 goals. I feel like this result could be pretty simple. This could be a horror game for Sydney. But again, it's only early stages. Anything can happen. So here's what we had. The Cats got over the Dogs by 13, 70-83. The Crows smashed the Eagles by 31, 88-57. And the Suns smashed the Roos by 62, 109-47. Now, Melbourne currently lead Sydney 12-0. Hawthorn versus Collingwood tomorrow at the MCG. Before the final game of the round, the best game of the round, Fremantle versus Brisbane. Now, this is going to be 2 decent premiership sides having a crack. The Buys, Carlton, Essendon, Port Adelaide, Richmond, St Kilda, GWS. That's what we've got. Sydney have scored their first behind of the game, 12-1. Now, as the live ladder would stand, Melbourne will be getting a nice gap on Brisbane and Freo. Well, on Brisbane, and if Freo were to win, well then Freo as well. And this would really put Sydney in some danger at 28, where they are definitely in a pickable spot from Richmond when they play next, as well as the Western Bulldogs as well, and Gold Coast as well. So Sydney's spot could be up for grabs if a loss was to happen. However, if they were to win, they'll really be looking at a top 4 spot. Richmond, their result, not this round but next round, is critical. The Crows got a nice bit of percentage. West Coast still sitting on bottom, although they probably would have gained a little bit of percentage after that game. And North Melbourne, I believe, if it's live, yeah, they're still sitting 17th with the 4 points. So that's going to wrap us up for match reviews, alright? We'll just leave it here so then you guys can see live score of Melbourne versus Sydney. But thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. Send you guys another video on the channel. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Bye everyone. Flaming Footy out.